Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Meghna and I will be explaining the parts about effective writing to you. So what is basically effective writing? Effective writing is a very important aspect because you need writing to appeal to your audience. Your audience could be anyone from the internet, say for example you're writing a Facebook article. Say for example you want to promote something. Say for example an achievement, could be an upcoming brand, could be your association with somebody. So anything and everything requires writing. So for writing, you need some important aspects. Now what are these aspects? We'll delve deeper into this. So there are 5 keys to effective writing. The 5 keys are, number 1, put the reader first. Put the reader first. Why is the reader important? Because if you're not writing a diary, until unless you're not writing a diary about yourself, a journal, a mind journal, you have to put the reader first. Because you're writing it for the reader to understand. Say for example, if it's a blog, if it's an advertisement, if it's a letter to the editor, you need to understand that the reader must understand whatever you want to convey to the particular person or a group of people. So for that, you need to put your reader first. Second is, use simple words and short sentences. Nobody likes to read elongated, elaborate sentences. Nobody likes to read details. Would you like to read it? If somebody writes you an elaborate love letter, would you read it? No. We all want to read short and sweet messages. Imagine if somebody sends you a WhatsApp message that has a long information about somebody's emotional state regarding, how they made you angry. Would you read it? No. Right? So that is why you should write always and always simple sentences, small sentences using simple words. Right? The kind of the reason why Chetan Bhagat is more popular than Shashi Tharoor, because of his vocabulary. Use jargons only when necessary. What are jargons? Jargons are specifications, specified words, specified vocabulary of a particular subject. So if you belong to the medical stream, you will have a particular jargon. Say for example, fluctuating heartbeat could have a particular jargon. Bodily function, say for example, a pregnancy period might be called gestation period, which will be difficult for the normal public to understand. But if you belong to a particular field and you want to talk to your readers, basically write to your readers who belong to a particular field, then you need to use jargons. But if you want to target an audience which is a wide variety, which comes from varied fields of the life, then you should never use jargons, lest you don't want somebody to understand what you are writing. Next point is, write with verbs and nouns. Do not use sentences which are difficult to understand. Use active passive voice wherever it is needed. We'll elaborate this point later. Next is format to improve readability. You should always and always read before you send something. There are multiple memes about when you write an email to your boss, you should check it again and again. Because you might accidentally write something as in please find attached. What if you have written please find attacked? How would it be? How would it impact your boss? Or dear sir, instead of sir, what if you have written something else? So you should always and always format your letter, your email, your blog, whatever it is, to say for example, clip it to the word limit that is required for an application, for an essay, for a paragraph, for whatever it could be. You should always and always format whatever you have written, to clip it, to shorten it, to omit certain details which you do not want the audience to know, or to include certain details that you might have forgotten. Alright? So, let's talk about these points in details. Put the reader first. Communication is equal to understanding. Write to express, not impress. As I said, Shashi Tharoor sells less books than Chetan Bhagat because he writes to express, not impress. tie into the reader's experience. Whatever is important, whatever is going on right now. So even if you look at advertisements these days, it is always and always about what people understand, what people can connect to. Look at movies, whatever is seen visually, it is always and always something that the reader can connect to, or the audience that they can connect to. Hence, you should always and always write something which is appealing to the reader, not you. Yes, what is in it for me? Why do I need to write something that should appeal to the audience? Because, of course, your letter, your application might get you into a very desired job or a desired college. Could be that your blog might bring in customers to that particular business that you're writing for. Say, for example, you want to be a digital marketer. So you need to create content for that. Or you might need to write content for a website, because you say, for example, you are a content writer for websites. So that way. Use simple words, as I had said. I have an example in front, as in vague example could be, the weather was of an extreme nature on the west coast. Now it's a little frustrating because there could be a lot of questions that could arise out of this particular sentence. As in, when did this extreme weather occur? What does of an extreme nature mean? Where on the west coast did this take place? So to write a concrete sentence, how would you write it? California had unusually cold weather last week. So now you have a time frame, that is last week, unusually cold weather, a particular example or detailing of the weather as well as the place, that is California. Consistent grammatical forms. Here is an example. I admire people who are honest, reliable and sincere, because it applies to the adjectives that you need. Incorrect. I admire people who are honest, reliable and have sincerity. In this version, what we are doing wrong is that we do not have to make sense with sincerity, have sincerity, they do not belong together. So it's a little difficult to understand. Word order. There are a lot of examples that I can put in. Dangler, for example, forgotten by history, his autograph was worthless. You will find such sentences in the books of literature in the old times. Say, for example, in the Victorian era, in the modern times, we do not use such kind of sentences. We write, he was forgotten by history and his autograph was worthless. Simple sentences. Another example, born in Chicago, my first book was about the 1871 fire. Okay? And there's an easy way. I was born in Chicago and my first book was about the 1871 fire. So slightly easy to understand. Yes, I've already explained about jargons. A simpler version of jargons is what we use in our messengers and WhatsApp. Since we use a lot of smileys and short forms and acronyms of a lot of long expressions, if you use it in day-to-day life, say for example somebody from an older generation who rarely uses these kind of jargons in their messages will not be able to understand them. So by the way, BTW headquarters HQ might be difficult to understand for some people. Hence, it's better that you do not use them. Then there are examples of political jargons, right? Right wing, left wing, then they could be bourgeois, so many, so forth. Yes, active and passive, as I was talking about, using verbs and nouns. Passive voice means that the subject receives the action. Usually newspapers use passive voice to front the important part and remove the active part. Say for example, there has been an accident. You want to focus on the accident and not the perpetrator. So you will always focus on the accident if you use passive voice and not the active voice. Notice that the party responsible for the action in the previous example, whoever hit the ball, may not even appear. As in, my watch was stolen. Of course a thief stole it, so why do you need to highlight it? Hence, use such kind of examples. So we write using verbs and nouns in this manner. Last point, format document. Use lists, bullet points, charts, tables, indents, italics, bolds, headings and subheadings. Especially important if you are writing a research article or you want to review something. So you should always review using these kind of lists, because people seldom read the entire thing. If you put proper bullet points, if it is important to them, if it caters to their needs, they'll read that point first. Hence, a sentence fragment is usually an oversight. Do not leave anything hanging. It occurs when you have only a phrase or a dependent clause but are missing an independent clause. Do not write a lot of clause. Do we read the rules before we sign up for, say for example, a stock in the market? Do we read the entire document that describes the risks? We just accept and continue. So that is why using lists, bullet points, charts is important, and this can only be achieved when you revise the entire article or some kind of a writing that you do. Sentence fragments. After the show ended, we had coffee. This is a full sentence, and this is an example of a sentence fragment. I hope this was clear. Thank you.